Good morning, students, and welcome to our second iMovie tutorial. Today we're going to be going over how to fix image resolutions or how to pick pictures that are going to work best into iMovie. We're going to be talking about how to add filters and effects, transitions, and titles. So, like last time, let's get started. Alright, so I have my iMovie practice reel from last class period open. You can see there's all of my photos at the bottom that I had picked from the original video where I had to pick my top 10 favorite things and put them into a reel. And as I'm kind of going over it, I'm seeing that a lot of these images are very blurry, especially the one of the corgis right here and the mountain. So the reason behind that is that they are not the right size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to search up corgis because I want to find a replacement picture for the corgis. And I'm going to go back to images. Now, if you look at the first image that I picked is really little. It's 600 by like 400, 500, and that means it's really small. What iMovie wants is a larger picture. It's basically stretching out my pictures. So I'm going to go up to Tools, I'm going to pick Size, and I'm going to search for large pictures. Now, I can go down and search for the exact size of an iMovie screen, but for right now, we're just going to stick with large images. So now Google's going to give me only large images. And if you look at this first one, 2000s, 1000s, these are going to be our best options. They're still not quite perfect iMovie size, so we're still going to have to crop them, but they're going to look a lot better when we put them in. So I'm going to take this picture of corgis. It's still a group picture, and it's a good size. And I'm going to drag it to my desktop, and from there I'm going to put it into my iMovie project. Now I can either put it up there in the top like I did in the beginning, or I can place it over the top of the blurry corgi picture, which will give me the option to replace the image, and I'm just going to pick replace. Now you can see this picture is a lot better quality. It's a lot clearer. There's no pixels or issues. I still have to crop it because it's still not the right size, but it's pretty darn close. You still got a little bit at the bottom and the top. That's fine. We can leave that there. And now when I play it over, it looks a lot better. So it's up there, and now that I'm not going to use this image, I do want to get rid of it. So I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to click on that old image at the top, and I'm going to delete it from my media event. Now, you don't have to do this. This is completely optional. You can keep them up there because really that's just a bank of images that nobody is ever going to see unless you use it in a video. But some of us like to keep clean workspaces, so we can get rid of them. And this one says I can't get rid of it because it's down there at the bottom and that I have to delete it before I can get rid of it in the movie project. So I'm just going to click on it, hit my backspace button on my keyboard, and then I can go on with continuing to delete my extra images out of the top. So now that I have all high resolution pictures that aren't blurry, I want to add some effects to it. So you see at the top I have cropping, I have color correction, but I also have filters and effects. This is for images and for audio. We don't have to worry about audio right now. So I'm going to click on the image effects, and there's all these different filters that can be applied to my picture. Some of them are effects that they turn it upside down or they turn it into a negative. So I'm just going to kind of look through here, and I'm going to find one I like that makes my picture kind of pop. So I'm going to pick this sun filter, and I'm going to do the same thing to the corgis. I'm going to go up. I think I want these guys to be black and white. I think that would be really cute. So let's find a good black and white one. That one looks really sharp. Let's go with that guy. So now you can see that the pictures don't change down on the timeline, but when I play it up in the top, you will see that there are filters that have been added. So if I'm wanting to make an effect or change the mood of something, this is a good way to do it. Alright, so now that I have all my pictures there and I've figured out how to do effects and filters, I'm going to make it so it doesn't just flip from one picture to the other. So I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to find the section that says transitions. So these transitions are going to be effects that happen in between video clips or in between images to kind of create a little bit of, a more interesting move from one to the other. So there's a good selection, and a lot of the times transitions are completely up to you. Whatever you want your video to look like, you can do that. I like ones like this where the picture swirls in from one to the other. So I'm just going to click and drag and put it in between. I'm going to play it, and the corgis kind of swirl in from the other picture instead of just automatically flipping. So if you click on this, you notice that it says 1 second. 1 second means that that's all the time that this transition is going to take. But I can change that. If I double click on it, I can change the transition time to, let's say, 2 seconds. That means that the transition is going to take 2 seconds to complete itself. So now when I play it, that zoom in with the corgis happens a lot slower. Same way if I double click on it and I go, I want a half a second. Now that transition is going to happen very quickly. So transitions can happen as fast or as slow as you want them to, and they're a really good way to kind of create an effect. You don't want the transition, just click on it and hit the delete button and it's going to go away, and it's just going to go back to where I flipped straight from one picture to another. The last thing that we need to talk about is how to shorten these pictures. So as you can see, I can kind of drag the edges of my pictures and change the time on them. A lot of times when you import an image into iMovie, it starts automatically at 4 seconds. But we can change it from anywhere from less than a second to however many minutes. But what's important to realize is that number up at the top is the length of your entire movie. So right now mine is around like 9 seconds long. I can zoom in and zoom out to see how many pictures I have, and this is helpful if I have like 20 or 30 pictures in there. I can kind of zoom in and see everything. It doesn't change the length of my overall video, it just lets me see more or less pictures that I have in the project. I can also go up here to the top and I can add titles, which are basically just going to be words that are going to show up on my screen. So if I zoom back out, I'm going to go back to my first one and I want to put some words on it that kind of let my viewer of my video know maybe what this place is. So I'm going to shorten it up so the pictures only show up on that picture, and then I'm going to double click on my title and I'm going to change the text on the top. I'm going to call it Japan Palace. Don't really know the exact name of that palace, it might not even be real, but we're going to call it Japan Palace. So now when I click off, you can see that the title box has changed to Japan Palace. If it still says text here, you need to redo it because for some reason it didn't take it. When we double click on it, we can also change our fonts. There is an extensive list of fonts, as well as at the bottom, if you're looking for a very particular font, you can view the rest of the fonts, but it is literally just a black hole of fonts. We probably don't even want to mess with it. You could spend days doing this, and we don't have days. But we can also make it bold, we can italicize it, we can change the colors, basically do anything but change the location of the text. If the text is in the bottom right corner, we can't move it. It's in the bottom right corner. If you want it in the middle, you need to pick a different title style that shows up in the middle of the screen. So I changed the text to blue, and that really kind of doesn't work. It didn't look right, so I'm just going to change it back to white and close it out, and it shows up a lot better. It's important to make sure that your text is visible, because otherwise they're not going to be able to read it, and it's going to look really, really shoddy. So now I got some titles and a transition, and I like that. I think it looks good.